abrofo no nso wo koya wo kum nipa and ye sacrifice answer yesie ohene. So the king of Belgium owu Antioch omotam no free ho ede no ebese eko omkro ba kwekro omode ne call once omuse na forgotten the name. And somebody they call to say no, they had to sacrifice about 27 people. This is somewhere in the 16th and the 17th. So they were doing it. They were doing it. The kings of England and all the others say, "Oh, he didn't be a war. Ye shall sipo. Ye daddy no esi hoseya na ye de sabe ye de woto esi sword na so." Na ewura wo body ni mu saa na ebe pie utirim. And there are pictures and videos to show this. And sa cult no different from Freemason. Freemason for any different. And one so on the other so yet different. I want you to get the story, the history, so that some intissimua what we dimension what you say. It's one so say so your hene and obia or ye leader of the cult no Onua. What the nipa moja and a sacrifice. Esiesi emuno ansa yakwakusi. We Onua. Woko Israel your baby from Jordan. Ebe Israel. Enye Jordan nsuo no. Ehon so ahemfo ho. Eti se eno so ohene bi wu a ye soja ne ye nipa no atena eja ne ho saa na ye kuam na wote ho na wo ho hyehyew na wo noa 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 saa wote ho saa na wo so awu. If you say na wo ahemfo no ho a tetete no I mean 1300 1482 eba be si 1569 na say ahemfo na was am potem ho no wu a ye hye they were cremated. But answer the ebe kwa kwahye ohene no tago obetena ho JB te ho Samet te ho Peter te ho Abraham te ho Mauli te ho we te ho na furu no susija so na wo susu tija no ho te furu no hye no na wo so wo no a. So this was also going on. I'll give you the books. I'll bet you so you can understand this whole scenario. We and now call Australia. We call Australia. Yeah, one so those who moved away from New Zealand, who moved away from Sydney to go from New Zealand. The entire would Johnny say. Now one so say leaders now no we occultic leaders or more system name. Anyone we are very powerful in the society. So we say our special gene. Bibi would nipa ni mu a ema ono oye so powerful and so special. Eti obabia ono wa woda. And obabia yenim say ono wa dada no. They come to look for you and they select 7 and you go with them. Why? Because obviously they don't want any other man to come and sleep with you. They don't want any man to come and sleep with you. So, for example, Mr. Atri are very powerful. We are looking for a man. Yesusu say, Mr. Atri, no why you be paying. In those days, when you move in from 1412, ABC 1689 in Australia, so powerful people in Awoni Obada which roding. Eti wutro oba ni din na watro baby a woni ne dae ene de nti ama woni ne dae sa woni ne woba sa woni ne niba. So you make the list. That is why Abraham Grace be mo okuta madin ne be madin Abraham Grace when he wrote his book, the first book of published here 1922, some book not showing 1922, talking about how women were being brutalized, marginalized, killed, suppressed, oppressed, and depressed. Australia, no, he quoted these things. So go and look for that book and read. So now on Tiasie, how they were doing that. And the reason was that they don't want any man to sleep with such women. So they will look for the most beautiful 7. They will look for the most fantastic 7 out of whatever number of women are. So one of their leaders, occultic leaders, decided that I will not write anybody's name. So that when I die, you will not kill anybody because of me. Those ladies must also have their life. They should go about their normal lives because I am dead and gone. When you kill people in addition to myself, nothing will happen to me. I will not come back to life. So 1824, he said that no way. When I die, let me die and go. So, what was I not the Emma Abefie, but there was no wife at home. There was no wife. There was no woman at home. For you to say that the yene a fiata go, the yene asimesi, the girl ni asimesi, there be who was not the manaba. And that is why only broni or was as who 89 or who 89. And onona sefo na bete the Mormons na wo America omo wuta no. So when you get his book Grace from Above, written by Leslie Grant, what kind of book now do page 89 it will tell you the story how he moved the history and now we have the Mormons. So as a result, they also decided that they are more than 2. It took America to see why do you say before go to Utah? Mormons no be share broni na yere mu ya 4. Ba wari wo mo waye obi ahwa de fine. So when you read Leslie Grant's book Grace from Above, okay sa book na or trust sa book ni because according to Onua ne nana was a victim and the grandmother was able to run away. The great grandmother was able to run away. She fled. Said and she told the story. And she saw Onua Yabewu in 1907. It's a who Onua Leslie Grant in 1907. Onua sa history no and no putting in that together. Said, "Oh, I'll write a book, Grace from Above." Grace, why grace? Because Abraham Grace. Bema Obadi say grace is the better Bema, say the better about. And a fay, Nana Nanswa, or no so, Yentimi, and Yano, and Kunu, because Otimi, Ed Jania, or Hinano, Emma Jania, because or Hinana Case, ma, Owa, Menphobia, and Sieno, and Canaho. It is a or no, where we know Bequa, or ba woman pass, now or Yan and Kuala Brim girlfriend. Now watch this, that king. Only about that I know 9 years. Or Bruni. Odi Fian Kuno no chimpana. And on my minute chimpanas are in the chair. So it was obvious. Say, we are. But Okobona mane, as to how he got to know Semibu, Timefia Janino, and only God knows. And Okobona mane said, or Shasadi and Hotiana, Enche Obeu. Eti Jane. Pe baby fa utifa. Ba wo kodru baby a wo kobia. Ba me bia wo be hia no kwamu bia ware no. Ompe wo kra pe no. Na ye hu sa wo kunu. So that say ye be hu na ye adu say ye chill by force a ba ma no be protectable. And then she also left. And that is how Leslie Grant wrote this book. Now, what do you know to China? China should be kumni papa. The Buddhists. So, the long story short, say penny be ewu. A very powerful person be ewu. Na ye kumni pa, na ye normal, the whole world. The whole world, every part of the corner of this world, ye kumni pa. There's this man. na Nidin to say Russia former president to be now Russia president to be a friend of Mikhail Gorbachev. But there's this Russian archaeologist or the men's you know, you spell no M-A-E-N-N-S, Men's Gorbachev. He's one of the world's top-notch archaeologists. So he decided that ahemfo ne powerful people. Yes, see woman nyina no. Say oti baby a won na wo, baby a ye bo amena de wo to ya. Na wakotu na de ho, no person who what actually is happening in the grave. A person who at the kuna e wo amena nim. Some of the books that he wrote, The Ben's Grave, this book, The Ben's Grave. So Kaya or say, this is what made me believe that there is God. This is what made me believe that there is God. Because no king was buried with chains. No king, no powerful person as of that time was buried with chains. And out of 27 graves or research into it, he stated, our page 197 say, out of the 27, 17 of them, womo share amenanimu na chain egugu womo nsa, chain egugu womo nan. Ono man explanation, and he say, "Eye boni na omo adi." Eti even asamado, there was punishment for them. And research at Chewa Ghana, and I have followed suit. My hinibia owu ya yekum nipa this year and the first one abra boy basa. For any two from Shokro Mahino wu ya na. Yes, I didn't pass no. She had the first child in Abrabo. So this man, Men's Gorbachev, the book titled The Graveyard, actually say, even though Yadriye say, uwa nasa, say no uwa nensai. If you say you come nipa disiewa, you punish you ewa samado. Sa punishment ni siya eba bonten eba attack your first child. Whether so your ba and I say oye bemano. Sa ewudie na ye di sie wo no. Oye broni o. Broni ko. Ana troye. Eba be kan e prawo. Ediwewu. Or say most of the ahinia ewo wiase nyina no, he still believed that the black kingdoms are still powerful than the white kingdoms. Why did he say so? Say black kingdoms, still remains powerful than the white kingdoms. Or say modernization, I say England ahinie. It's or Stedina or Shah, he predicted that going forward, the monarch in UK ebe losing in relevance. It's ebe do baby no one Shah. Any pan Shaddai who say, oh, King Charles na oba no, Queen Elizabeth na oba no, nti yenye den. So I have a job to do. I have something very important to go. And he cited several examples, say, as of that time, now there was poverty in the whole world. So a lot of people had no access to job, had no access to work. There was no income coming from anywhere. And 92% of the total women on earth as of that time were housewives. 92% across the globe. We are seeing money 92% are housewives. 92%. Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, wherever, they were housewives. So, ne nipa niska. So, because I make vacation waha. That time, vacation you cry day. Na vacation, ne say, if you have to go a year, Juma, Bosome mi ensa. Ne ya see a man vacation. Be 1 week, no wako home na waba. And then, nipa enyini eniam esesa no you will say oh meko vacation a say movie from Ghana ebia Togo ebia me free Kumasi my bank crying me fin crying me call Takrade me free Takrade me call Cape Coast any ade it is say nimdia ne ba bebre a ebeba be hard. So what they have to do is to militarize kingdoms. You have to involve the military in the politics of kingdoms so that even when you are losing your power as a kingdom because of the militarization of the kingdoms and the chieftaincies and the monarchs, people will still be afraid not to leave the chieftaincy, the monarchs and all and run away. It's as I say, yeah, now, when we are so Washa, we call England, you were the palace soldiers, Queen or one soldier for, and when we now for British Army, one woman to woman, pair, person, they do whatever they want to do. When you go to the various monarchs around the globe, even Ghana Hakurano, Ebedu Babino, Paramount is a Ghana himfo. I think somewhere in 82, and our trauma, Fly Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlins, Amahini be Efisashi, Ebi Free Asante, and Ebi Free Infante, Eba Rawlins, what I catch us a baby, I didn't know. As I say, I him for no so, Efili protected. It's a baby, I Paramount Sibiano, Yama police in Inko. And it is known that in 1983, August 1983, Rawlins ordered that, as I say, every paramount chief will be on your police guard. It was part of how to militarize monarchs globally. Well, you know, Afena a soldier for the Biduman who said no, Padisi, I am Friade Amodi, Ayana, and Yafayu. I'm looking for something to read for you. Now, say Ekobanisa, it becomes a serious thing. Now, I bet how you are seeing now. So the army decided that you better hear who. The time now, army no shots say all chin getting too much involved in chieftaincy, and I him for the city up. If say Obiwu, and a powerful person be na yesi ekotwa obiti ana yekum obi yehye obi sepo na ye de aka ne ho akwa na sojafo na sori no ma ready ahimfie ho. So it was the military and a savvy that situation. So ubakaya Ghana ha, there's a very popular story be eko so was a baby I don't want to go into details of that. You know of that during Rawlins' time. Now something. Rawlins my coffee and buy and crying jelly no and in some way say okay, or don't see be and a whole lot of things. Eti a soldier for a military no and a savvy that situation. Eti Ghana ha sa Ghana for Bekaya or Dominas will be Hako. Wabre, Akonyano said Pentecost Dickness. Yama riser. Monkachechi am say we anye. Elebe no say na mechi na ya. Em so say. Enti se Ghana for Bekaya 1989. Sana ohini biya wu a 64 infantry battalions no omko kronim any areas na sa ohini na wu no wo bua wo nyo bia nkunu. If you want to know the details about this, ask Bevlo Latte, he's alive. If you want to know the details about what I'm telling you, ask the current CDS. Thomas of Pompepra. And that's why I keep telling people, say, baby, I drew on Memohano. As I say, start every drink coffee. We should know where we are coming from. Say, you baby, a fever. we'll be able to tell where exactly we want to go. But the Aquarian say, Ghana, ye nimbe biya ye fiba. Ghana, we don't know where we are coming from. So our history and our stories are just disjointed. It's here. So even when you have security officers, be it whatever security institution, you can tell that when they are out there to protect, there's no history. Saoko France, na say yesi BBS Marcel, na ye the soldier for kwa, ye the police for kwa. They know said there's a history. Quickly, they will go into their archives. Maybe 1827, 17 this, 19 this, 2000 and this. Something like that happened. How was it solved? This is how it was solved. But unfortunately, Ghana, we are not able to document events. Eti sofo bi betimi asore aye niema bebre to say living bread for sofo amoako. There's no book. No, there, I mean, maybe there is. But mpacho mi hui. Enti make say there is no book no. E bi ana enwoma bi sa awo. Sofo amoako, how he started, brought up the daughters of glorious Jesus. It is all spoken history. A story ye Troy. So by now, as I say, resurrection power and living bread. But just as I no. By now, as I say, we put it together a committee to write about that man, so we can keep it hundreds of years to come. I've gone to look for this book, Korea Review. After say, what? Listen to this. Why I'm saying this is that Koreans to me who say no. Yeah. Listen, nobody can rewrite the history of the United Kingdom. Nobody can rewrite the history of America. Nobody can rewrite the history of France. Nobody can rewrite the history of any of these so-called, top nations in this world. But anybody can get up and rewrite the history of Ghana. It is because nobody documented that. One say, Ahemfuri are driving back to Ashanti region. They have realized where they are coming from. As some man saw in a court. Enche, ebinum so beko. Me catch last week said, me pese me share go mo asem ma hinansa. Maka de yesese me ka me yanhia no. Over the weekend me na me phone sim kuta me. Enti me yanhia asem ma hene. Me share wi a na me ka de be mehu research amaye ne de be hu no. So who said, okay, we obetimi aka, we obetimi aka, we wuntimi nka, we obetimi aka. Then I'll come back to tell you. What they are not to nchenya. Akwaje book ben pan yatro in Ghana, in this country about Akwaje. Someone should tell me. I haven't seen a copy. Enti we say Akwaje ye say. We say Akwaje ye say. Now let me tell you. What do you say, Abraham? Peter, Ghana, ya sase, ya banya sase. Ghana ni ba kupe nim. There's only one Ghanaian. Your friend Jato, Ghana ni ba kupe. And onim Ghana and sase ya banya diena. Joma hamoti ya kunyasu. Onim Ghana banya sase na. The enima ye East Legon. The enima ye Kumasi Nshaso. The enima ye Cantonment. The enima ye ha. The enima ye ha. Ghana baya asase ankasa oje ye ni na no abrofo no fa document ni na de kogu the archives in UK. And it took this guy called Jato. He said, "Anyway, that no, so he had to fly all the way from Ghana, a Chinese ni, all the way to UK to go and research about the lands in Ghana. Rollins, listen to me carefully. Why can we live in this country and we say that we don't have anything about us ourselves? The last time I was reading about my own father, J. Kufo, the last time I was reading about Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the last time I was reading about all the presidents in the Fourth Republic, including John Dramani Mahama, I realized that all the information that you require about them, you have to go to the internet and read. Whether that is correct or not, and one says often, sir, it's again an Ibia for Google, information here, right? Meanwhile, what China for say Google is not allowed in China, Facebook is not allowed in China because woman per se will be very right the history of China. Now we're diluting the history between China and Japan, the history between China and Hong Kong, but ours is being diluted. So tell me, what is it about J. Kufo that you know? You have to go to the internet. It's the internet in the mechano. And one yet sitting here, don't wait for me to die. Write about me. Now my mother is alive. My grandfather is alive. My father is alive. I am alive. So everything that I am looking for, and now we will trophy me hono. There are people to go around and ask them, they are all alive. My uncles are, ya wo me mame. Ama onu subedi na chi kwabrebo. Kwekwafro. Kwabranana. And afei, Sister Mary. Sa me mame nuanu, they are all alive. But if we are not careful, you better know, sir, oh, Captain, Yamia in Adu, Abrante Yini, within 99 years. Well, Afena, Ebia Sasata, the media general, ya Dimrika, Yakwahi, oh, Mubenya Captain Tape, Bia, and maybe, you don't even remember the date. So, Akweje, who has written about Akweje? It is our kind, Professor Dubois book, whatever he's tried to put together about Akweje, it becomes supreme. But that is not correct. Kwejiri, who wrote about Kwejiri? Information I owe Kwejiri. Let me Google, and I'll tell you most of the things written about Kwejiri on the internet are wrong. And I'll prove to you why it is wrong. And Ministry of Tourism, look, what is the history of Ghana? Eyedena Asante. Ninuya any Anglo. Meanwhile, I say I can't force any before. How? I mean, come home. Brafie. Eyedena Ena Asante. Ninuya any Anglo. Asante dia ukude any akweside. Anglo di hogbototo. Eyedena Ena akweside. Any hogbototo. Beye enuafo. Now, after some years, and then modern Ghana, no, you see, I before any Asante phone. How does this make sense to you? It is because, look, my catcher say you're born intercolleges, say you're born superzonals. And some morning shows, must begin to educate the Ghanaian. Because political talk shows, yet you want to political expediency. Morning shows, is supposed to educate the Ghanaian. Except the Ghanaian, Eti a day, and a Ghana for a cool in Asia before the Asante Phone Council. Are you cool? Shadini Asantenia, you be 1 million and 4. It's almost so, say, ye, say, me banner, maybe a Juma won't cry. What am I for to add about me? Obi hwe ne kan say ha wo kwa kan. Multimedia ho na wo kɔ. Wo de wodim before wo wo ho no. Awonafo wo wo ho. Wo gru ho kitwa bia ebeku wo. How? Ye beku say den na say. Me kochi na me ba media general so a. Ye say e ho kra de na enyo. E ho na me de madwin tra sidin am say no. Let me analyze this situation. Yes me ko e ho a media for the multimedia I before ho ye beku me menya hu. Obi ankumi. Na me ko ba before so I before ho awonafo ho so I say hey, e ho so kwa ye beku. Now, when I came here, if you are looking at it and you are analyzing it carefully, 80% here are for 80% are people from the voter region. Achu, Peter, head of technical, your friend saying, McAfee. These are the people who are making me rain in Accra, the IOS. And history ben and wahwa, then see yentia, Emma Asante. Any anglo, enti yaka wo mo awonafo no, anglofo, ne ya na awona, bibia no e friend awona, e anglo. Asante ni anglo, den na be hye mfimfin ho kakra. In 1903, den na siye. Enti ama e kwaka se o, Asante, ene awonafo de ogro ho me wo makonta ko mo nyanuafo bem. They are still brothers. You can't change that. You can't change that. So when Asante hine, the bia Asante hine here and no hine pa no ko. Okwa Asante hine referred to him as my brother. Minya. Eti Asante hine ba anglo hogwetoto. He referred to the Awamafia as my brother. Please. Who is documenting Sa Nneɛma way? Why not document it? Enti Ghana ye history ni nyina Kwajiri Agri. Ana me sa Kwajiri Agri na me kan say me hwehwe na de no. Kwajiri Agri. Wo kwa internet na obo ni din ana ya ma on pictures. But wo de say wo click so now person wo kan a tie ni yo. Me kind name yatro about Kwajiri Agri. Say James Iman Kwajiri Agri was born on the 18th of October 1875 and he died on 30th of July 1927. Was an intellectual, missionary and a teacher. And then Kwajiri Agri a missionary. Someone should tell me how Kwajiri Agri became a missionary. Yes, Susano missionary ye hwan they didn't free baby. Or mindful frosso. Edin back Ghana ha. Obeka nyame asem in quote. But every missionary I do fi America they were all CIA agents. That is why James McKeown said that do not see me as a missionary, but see me as a servant of God. Don't see me as a missionary. That is what James McKeown, the founder of the Church of Pentecost, that's what he said. He said, do not see me as a missionary. Why? Because he has read wide. Now, on himself, missionary, Biano, the Bible, they were agents. When we come crossing, baby, a mema war, a man who pokwasi so more day, they are found more as slaves. So it was a lie. Said they were missionaries, they came to Ghana to preach the word of God. That is wrong. That's what they were doing. And there are books written by CIA agents. Last week, the CIA diary. I showed all of that to you. I don't want to bore you with those things. So, Kwajiri then obey a missionary. He's a Ghanaian. He was born in the Gold Coast, British West Africa, modern Ghana, and pursued education in the United States, returning to Africa. Africa, he not returning to here. He returned to Ghana. So when you write it so broad that he returned to Africa, where in Africa did he return to? And let me state this: when a tour ticket to maakye angry, about Ghana, that is not captured. Any portrait sika maakye angry kosuya de or the back Ghana, it is not captured. After earning his graduate degree at Columbia University, he was the first vice principal of Achimota College. That is correct. Aggrey was born in Anomabo, the son of Princess Abena Onua of Ejumako and Ochiame Prince Kwadwo Kwejiri, chief linguist in the court of the Master Chieftain King Anomabo, Amono of Anomabo. Now watch this. Anomabo is a paramount to you. Anomabo had a king. But the son said, "Yentimi